I am currently a sophomore at Liberty High School, and in my global studies class, we are currently researching different world issues. My research has been mainly focused on the violation of human rights in America. Human rights are the rights that all people of every race, ethnicity, religion, or background should be subject to. These rights include the right to equality, the freedom of opinion, and no one should face discrimination against any of these rights. Sadly, in America, there are people who believe that not everyone is equal and become racist and discriminatory against certain ethnicities or races of whom they believe are less important or less deserving than them. Through my research, I have found many examples of these violations, going back as early as the European settlers taking land and lives from the Native Americans. Several other of these examples also include slavery, child labor, and the Jim Crow laws. In each of these examples, an ethnic group in America has had their basic human rights denied. In the case of the Native Americans, they were denied their right to nationality and even their right to life. During the Industrial Revolution, children as young as 6 years old were forced to work up to 19-hour shifts in extremely dangerous and unfavorable conditions, where thousands of children lost their lives. Slavery in the U.S. has been a truly terrible thing, where slaves, mostly African Americans, were put to work, separated from their families, beaten, and often people who became slaves were slaves from birth to death, and they never even lived to have any freedom. While we have since abolished slavery, segregation has also occurred in the 1900s, where also African Americans were the subject of savage racism, being treated as lesser beings, and even forced to endure subnormal services such as restaurants, schools, and even drinking fountains. And even while this horrible practice has been stopped, racism has continued to savage the U.S., where people are openly denied Article 1 of the United Nations document entitled Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 1 states that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. For another human being to not follow this basic human right and to treat someone as lesser or unequal is a terrible, terrible thing to do. And no one ever, anywhere, should have to endure this inhumane torture and treatment. Please share this video so that people may become more aware of how human rights are being violated everywhere and especially here in the U.S.